Yo guys, I've got a spark which I'm going to use to ignite the fire for a brand new video here on the channel. Let the volume of my voice set the tone for how exciting this Q&A video is going to be. A Q&A video which was meant to go live yesterday, but instead it's going live on Monday, October 2nd, which means that this video goes live on the exact same day as my 22nd birthday. That's right, I'm a 22-year-old man who puts Skylanders videos on the internet for a living, and I am totally okay with that because I'm also a 22-year-old man who's still excited for his birthday. I clearly didn't age past the age of 12 now, did I? But that being said, today's video isn't just a Q&A because we also have an insane month ahead of us. October, there's just going to be so many events and releases which I am deeply anticipated for. So before we get into the Q&A, I'm first going to run through the schedule of what is going to be an absolutely insane month for both my personal life as well as an insane month for the YouTube channel itself. So without further ado, I'm going to roll the intro and we are going to talk about this month of October ahead of us, which is going to be one of the greatest Octobers in the history of Octobers, which is really saying something because the month of October has a long and rich history, don't you know? Before we continue, I have a massive thank you as we just hit 1 million channel views, which is an insane achievement, and from the bottom of my heart I really appreciate every single person who clicks on these videos and gives them a watch. It really means the world to me that over 1 million views have culminated on the channel over the past 6.5 years. But that being said, let's have a run through of exactly what's happening on the channel throughout the month of October. Yesterday, for the first day of the month, I obviously premiered the Smaller Dash Silver experience, which brings us on to today, October 2nd, where I have this Q&A video going live. And in fact, I have a new video going live every single day this week, with Skylanders Imaginators Versus coming out on both October 3rd and October 4th. Then on October 5th, I have a new Skylanders vlogging episode, which goes live, centralising around my university graduation, which took place on that exact same date in September. It took place on September 5th. So as for Friday the 6th of October, on the other hand, I have an exciting new rendition of #Film Fridays, because to celebrate my birthday, I'm going to talk about my favourite film from every year since I was born. Since we now have new videos premiering every Saturday, for Saturday, October 7th, the 7th annual Skylanders Awards ceremony will be premiering on the channel. I've noticed a theme of 7s occurring there already. As for October 8th, we're going to be making another Telltale Walking Dead video. Speaking of Telltale's Walking Dead, on October 9th, Clementine Book 2 releases. I'm not massively excited about this because I wasn't a big fan of Clementine Book 1. In fact, I straight up hated it because the comic betrays everything we love about Clementine's character. This character on the cover right here, that is not Clementine. That is fucking Tangerine. That is who that is. So even though the book will likely be bad, or at the bare minimum it will be a book that will frustrate every fibre of my being, it will at least make for an interesting topic to cover for that week's Sunday Telltale Walking Dead video on October 15th. As for the rest of the week preceding it, on Tuesday, October 10th, I'll be taking a break from the weekly Skylanders Imaginators Versus series to focus on the premiere of Skylanders Imaginators Soul Seekers. After that premiere, the series will then get new episodes going live weekly on every Wednesday and Saturday. So on October 11th and October 14th respectively, there will be new episodes of the Skylanders Imaginators Soul Seekers series to look forward to. I'll also have another episode of Skylanders Vlogging going live on October 12th, 1 week after the previous episode goes live. This episode will explore all of my birthday celebrations, which I'll obviously be going through on the same day this particular video goes live, that being October 2nd. October 13th will be the opportunity for me to have a break from uploading videos, but I'll make up for it on October 14th, which is a pretty significant date for all of us Skylanders fans, as it's the exact date for the 10-year anniversary of Skylanders Swap Force. Good lord, I can't believe that game is already a decade old. That means both a new episode of Skylanders Imaginators Soul Seekers and a new video will premiere on that exact same day. This will also be the same for all of the weeks following, so long as I have a new video ready to premiere once that Saturday rolls around. If not, rather than getting 2 videos, the episode of Skylanders Imaginators Soul Seekers due to go live on that Saturday will instead be that Saturday's premiere video. That's if I don't have a video already finished for the premiere. All of this scheduling for the first few weeks in October, and we haven't even got to the exciting part yet. October 16th will be yet another break from uploading, but October 17th will feature the premiere of the finale of the Skylanders Imaginators Versus series, a conclusion which will be determined by viewers, as they will have the opportunity during a week-long break between episodes to vote on awards that will conclude the series. Then October 18th will obviously feature yet another new episode of Skylanders Imaginators Soul Seekers. October 19th will be another break in the upload schedule before the launch of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 on October 20th. To celebrate the launch of Spider-Man 2, I'll be doing a ranking of all of the Spider-Man movies for Film Fridays on October 20th. As for the game itself, I cannot understate how excited I am for this. I love the first game, and this sequel looks to expand upon it and make the formula even better. I'm so excited for this game. In fact, the launch day experience for this particular title will become the premiere for Saturday, October 21st, right after the new Imaginators Soul Seekers episode premieres. This addresses Lunalander's question from the Q&A because I'm absolutely going to be making content based around Spider-Man 2. I'm very excited for this game in case you couldn't tell so already, and the launch video I'm making will only be a teaser of what's to come. On October 22nd, I also have yet another Telltale Walking Dead video planned. As for October 23rd, I'll be taking yet another break from uploading YouTube videos, but October 24th features a premiere for us all to get incredibly excited about because it will involve the debut of a brand new Superchargers gameplay series on the channel. I won't spoil the details of the series just yet, but just know that it's going to be really fun, so keep your eyes out for it. Then on October 25th, it's a Wednesday, so you know the drill by now. It'll be time for yet another brand new Skylanders Imaginators Soul Seekers episode to debut. October 26th will be yet another break in the schedule, as will October 27th. October 28th will then have the debut of yet another brand new episode of Skylanders Imaginators Soul Seekers, as well as a major Skylanders project I've had in the works for months now, details of which I won't be spoiling just yet. I need to keep you surprised after all. Then on Sunday, October 29th, I won't just be celebrating Telltale's Walking Dead because I'll be streaming The Wolf Among Us as a means to feature other Telltale games outside of the Walking Dead universe. October 30th will then mark yet another break in the YouTube schedule before October 31st, where a Halloween rendition of that new Superchargers gameplay series I have in the works will premiere. I'm very excited for that holiday because Halloween ranks amongst my favourite holidays, but that's not the only thing to look forward to at the end of the month. To answer Skylanders for Life's question on the Q&A, the official Discord server of the channel is going to have a spooky debut on the night of Halloween. So in other words, on October 31st, we're getting both the second episode of the new Skylanders Superchargers gameplay series, as well as an official Discord server for the channel. So in conclusion, October will be an insane month for both my personal life as well as the YouTube channel because I have 2 new gameplay series premiering on the channel, as well as the exciting conclusion of Skylanders Imaginators Versus. I have other big projects in the works which will also finally be going live this month, so hopefully these projects will make up for the lack of new uploads in September. Given the scope and ambition of these upcoming videos, I'm hoping it has now become clear why September has been such a dry month on the channel for new content, because I've been focusing on making content for this month instead. On top of that, we have the 10-year anniversary of Skylanders Swap Force to celebrate, as well as the release of Clementine Book 2, and when that inevitably leaves a sour taste in my mouth, I won't have long to wait until the much anticipated Spider-Man 2. Boy, what a crazy month we have ahead of us. But now, if that having been said and done, let's finally move along to the Q&A. Okay, so it's Q&A time, and we're going to be tackling the very first question, which needs to be addressed with the utmost serious tone. Disclorb is superior to Discord in every conceivable fashion. In fact, Disclorb is on that much of a pedestal compared to every other social media that you could combine the absolute raw awesomeness of every other social media, and it wouldn't even touch a fraction of the raw awesomeness that Discord possesses. I might be making a Discord server, but that doesn't take away from Discord's superiority. It cannot be understated how much superior Discord is by comparison to Discord. What are you talking about, Caden? The last question you asked was an incredibly serious one. It was a real Q&A, but I suppose I'll ask this second question as well, the inferior one about my taste in music, which is correct, by the way, because my opinion is the correct one. Everyone who disagrees with me is wrong, because that's how opinions work, which means that the best genre of music is rock. I don't mean hard rock like heavy metal, I mean soft rock, you know, ones with lyrics that can actually be interpreted. Granted, both genres have some really passionate singers to it, and heavy metal really does demand some incredibly talented vocals. So if I were to be forced, shall we say, to listen to heavy metal, I'll still be content, but when it comes to rock, the more soft rock is what I'm a large fan of. I love bands like Massive Wagons, Imagine Dragons, Those Damn Crows, and that's just to name a few. Obviously Metallica and AC/DC are classics as well in that regard. So that, my friends, is my favourite genre of music. This look is achieved through pure luck. That's right, I needed good luck for good looks, that's how it works. It's also in the genes! Yeah, I'm not going to apologise for that pun because my entire family is smoking hot. We are all gorgeous. And I can say that because it's my own family I'm saying this about. We're just a really hot family. It's like America Ferrera's character in Superstore once said.
Makes me feel icky when you call me hot.
We're a hot family. Everyone's talking about it today. Deal with it.
But enough of all that. Everyone knows that the key to true beauty is actually in the hair. You just grow out the hair and it will be glorious piece of long hair. This is where all the charisma is stored. You ever wonder where I get all this charisma from? It's not charm coming out my ass, I'll call you that. It's charm coming from my glorious head of hair. Even though I have cut it recently, but that doesn't take away from my pure handsomeness now, does it? Don't you worry, my friend, this question did not come across as rude in the slightest, especially since I want to encourage questions of all nature for possible future Q&As, which I'm going to talk about later because that was what somebody else's question entailed. And I continue to make Skylanders videos, not because of the algorithm and garnering a large amount of views, because let's be honest, this is a very niche community. At most, you'll be lucky and strive a couple of 100,000 views. There's not really going to be videos, unless they're made by big content creators already, that are going to reach views in the 7-figure range. Those videos doing as well as they did are proof as to there still being somewhat of an interest behind Skylanders, or at least an acknowledgement of a franchise's existence, one that many people remember fondly. At the end of the day, this was a game that sold millions upon millions of individual units, as well as millions upon millions of toys. That is a childhood being formed for many different children around the globe, which is an impressive feat. And I'm one of those children. I grew up with this franchise. It effectively formed foundations of my personality to date. I am creative and extroverted because Skylanders has encouraged that from a young age of mine. That is my passion at Skylanders Incarnate. I continue with these videos because I thoroughly enjoy making them, and Skylanders is just such a large and expansive franchise that there is always new ideas and aspects to explore, and even then, expressionalism is something that can be taken into Skylanders. Different Skylanders mean different things to different people, and that is something that you can express. You can take something that's been said already and put your own unique spin on it, because there is no such thing as two people having the same opinion on something, and Skylanders is the greatest example of that. A wide range of characters, a wide range of cultures. I said earlier that Skylanders is a global franchise, that it impacted the childhoods of millions upon millions of kids growing up. Well, all of those kids come from different places and like different Skylanders for different reasons. Okay, so this next question comes from my boy Nolan, and I know already what he's fishing for. He wants me to say 2017 because that is no doubt an era on YouTube which Nolan himself has a lot of nostalgia over. I have a lot of nostalgia over it myself. It was my first year on YouTube, and so naturally that was where I first started forming foundations with relationships I made on YouTube. Nolan, for example, was the first real connection I made on YouTube. Me and him became really good friends over for Skylanders content we each made back in 2017. But that being said, the content itself was lackluster at best. I didn't have the best recording equipment, I had no editing whatsoever, and I didn't really know what it was I wanted to do with YouTube, and I didn't nearly have the confidence I have nowadays. So putting on a camera was a lot of hard work and effort for me, where I would have no idea what to say. I would constantly stutter, there would be no sort of flow to what I'd say, and because like I said earlier, I had no editing to it, it would just be long moments of silence where I would just have to kind of comprehend what it was I had to say. And nowadays, obviously, I still need that time to think before I speak. It's only wise. But it all comes to me a lot more naturally now that I've really established myself and I'm more aware of the channel's identity and who I want to be presented as in front of the camera. And all of that kind of started with 2019. That's when my videos started to increase in quality a lot. In 2019, I also had a PlayStation 4, so my gameplay wasn't just recorded from a phone anymore. I could at least get captured gameplay for the last 4 Skylanders games. In fact, speaking of 2019, the year before it, 2018, was the year where I finished my GCSEs, and then in the summer between my GCSEs and starting college, I got my very first job. I completed the NCS summer program, and I went to Malta, which was the last time I've been abroad. I haven't been abroad since. So 2018 was a big winner year for me on a personal scale, but when it comes to my YouTube stuff, in 2018 I still hadn't yet found the kind of content I was looking for with the channel. It seemed almost kind of shuffling about, lost in the wind. I was throwing things at the wall, hoping it would stick, and in 2018, none of it did. There was only a small handful of videos from 2018 that to this day I'm still proud of, that to this day are still on the channel, but 2019 is where the content started flooding out in a consistent and high quality based manner. What, so you mean content exactly just like this that I'm making right now? So this question right here ties in with the previous question quite nicely, in the fact that the games I play most frequently outside of Skylanders are the ones that I tend to cover for content sakes on my channel. And why wouldn't I cover the games that I'm most passionate about on my channel? Because then I can really just sit down and enjoy making these videos of games outside of Skylanders. If you enjoy yourself in front of the camera, then people watching from a perspective behind the camera are going to have a lot more enjoyment alongside you. Your attitude behind the camera as a YouTuber sets the tone and entertainment value of a video. So if you enjoy it, naturally your viewers would enjoy it much more, which is why I cover contents that I enjoy, because it comes so naturally and so enjoyably to me. You could go as far to say, hopefully that's a grammatically correct sentence, but you know what, I'm a gamer, so really grammar is the first thing that I take and throw it out the window. And those games, obviously, I cover Telltale, Walking Dead, and the Horizon games, so Zero Dawn and Forbidden West. I've streamed them both on the channel in the past. But there are games outside of that I play frequently. Pretty much anything that's PlayStation exclusive. Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man, God of War. Those are just a few of my absolute favourites, and Last of Us as well, obviously, but I haven't streamed those games in years. However, off camera, I still play those games a ton. In fact, just before recording this video, I played a couple of rounds of Factions because it's such a fun game mode in Last of Us, even though I am no good at it. That being said, those are the games I enjoy outside of Skylanders, and that is why I make content that is from games outside of Skylanders. But most of the time, I still find a way to connect that content back to my Skylanders roots, because Skylanders just has so much importance to me, and it comes naturally for me to make and enjoy those videos revolving around Skylanders. So yes, that's almost kind of like a 2-for-1 type deal. Well, my favourite element is quite obvious. It is part of the channel name after all. The fire element in Skylanders is superior to every other element in basically every conceivable fashion. There are very few fire Skylanders I dislike. Most of them are at the absolute top of the rankings of each respective game. Like at the end of the day, Fire from Skylanders Adventure, for example, had 3 absolute bangers in the form of Flameslinger, Eruptor, and Igknight. Even then, Sunburn, whilst being the worst of the 4, ain't half bad himself. So Fire is easily my favourite Skylanders element, and then my favourite Imaginator class is the Knight class. Whilst it's not necessarily as powerful or as fast-paced as Swashbuckler, Quickshot, or even Sentinel battle classes, what it lacks for in those categories, it makes up for with the personality and the weaponry that a Knight possesses. Swords are freaking awesome, and they really build up a grand personality for Knights, which is honourable and noble in battle. It's just so compelling to build an Imaginator of this class, knowing that it's going to have a massive fuck-off sword to deal with enemies. You asked the question if Skylanders actually only have 10,000 users. Like, only 10,000 is a small number to begin with, but even with the fact that Skylander NFC chips do eventually die, it doesn't mean that they do so quickly. In fact, the chips are incredibly durable. We are talking years upon years. In fact, I have Skylanders that are decades old, which are showing no sign of wear on the chips whatsoever. So all of this fear-mongering about the chips is incredibly needless, because all of the information that is being presented about these NFC chips dying are complete falsehoods. They are stirring up something, trying to drive sales, I suppose, because if we get people fearful about Skylander NFC chips dying, all of a sudden people who live and breathe these games are going to be thrust into a panic, as we can't play Skylanders without Skylander toys. But trust me, those NFC chips are a lot more durable than people make them out to be. 10,000 users is a lot, but the NFC chips are even more durable than that. They tested this when they first developed for Skylanders Adventure, and they had 2 portals in them die before the NFC chip did. Those NFC chips are that durable. So if you are worried about all this fear-mongering that's spreading about NFC chips eventually dying out, then you can rest easy knowing that those chips are incredibly durable. They were made to last. They are decade-old Skylanders that still work perfectly fine. I am always looking for new ways of which for the fans to interact with this channel. That is why I love doing live streams so much, and that is actually where you can come to get a grand majority of your Q&A needs. In live streams, I'm always happy to answer the questions that you have. So whilst I don't do events like Q&As very frequently, if you did ever want your questions asked, then please feel free to come along to the live streams. They're a very welcoming community that is warm and comforting. And I design them that way because I want people to come to those live streams and feel comfortable with expressing themselves. That is a very important thing to me. And so naturally, whilst I might not do Q&A events very often, there's always going to be a way for fans to interact with this channel. But I hope to be able to do things more directly for the sake of fan interaction with the channel. Stuff like conducting gameplay with viewers, especially on Nintendo-based live streams, as a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tournament, for example, would be easily accessible to a wide majority of my audience, since a lot of people will own both a Switch and online membership as well as a copy of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So naturally that means that very few of the fans of the channel will be left out if I were to do interactive experiences such as that, and it's why I hope someday that I can bring that to the channel. And if it's something that enough people show interest in, then I'll definitely be sure to do that on a frequent basis. This is a really good question and a really difficult one to answer, especially off the top of my head like this, because in case you couldn't tell, none of these answers for the Q&A are scripted. I wanted this to feel like a natural, organic video in which I displayed nothing but my full, unfiltered personality. That's where all the rambling comes in, so that's why scripts usually help to tighten up a video's length instead of this one that seems to be running through the roof thus far. And this question is going to involve a lot of rambling as well, because I have a lot of things to talk about particular characters. And we'll start with How to Train Your Dragon, because that's the easiest one to pick out a least favourite. It is Rough Nut. Tough Nut in the Hidden World at least has something going for him, which is his constant talk about his glorious hair. Given how much I brag about my hair, I can relate to Tough Nut on that one basis. But it doesn't stop the fact that Tough Nut is incredibly infuriating to watch. He is annoying and it really gets under my skin. And the same can be said for Snotlout. Both of these characters are unbearable and they actually take away from all of the scenes that they are in because they do not take anything seriously. They do not create or add anything to the emotional impact of the sequence. But none of those two hold a candle to Rough Nut, who is one of the single worst characters of the franchise based upon the fact that she is one of my few flaws with the Hidden World. This movie would have otherwise been perfect if not for how many scenes Rough Nut is in. Every single scene she's in makes me want to rip my hair out. There is literally a sequence dedicated to her annoying Grimold to the extent to where he lets her go. And then she is such a liability that she doesn't even bother to watch that she's followed. She leads everyone back to the Isle of Newburgh. And boy, the fact that she takes a lack of responsibility for her actions due to this emphasizes the lack of her character arc and just how annoying she has become. Just like Tough Nut, she takes nothing seriously and she takes away from situations. She puts our riders in more danger than they need to be. But then also Skylanders, that is an easy pick because Wrecking Ball is unbearable. He is boring to play as. He has a boring design with a really lackluster colour palette and just shape and proportions. He is a glorified bowling ball, and who wants to play as a bowling ball for a Skylander when there are 166 superior Skylanders in every conceivable fashion? I hate Wrecking Ball with every fibre of my being. And that brings us along to Transformers, which is a really difficult franchise to pinpoint who my least favourite character is. Obviously there are terrible characters that I hate, most of which come from Bayformers, so can I just say that Michael Bay is my least favourite Transformers character because he is a director, really tarnished everything special about Transformers, and unfortunately he created that to be the social norm that people think of whenever the word Transformers is brought up. Those movies are what come to mind for casual audiences, and it's a shame because those movies have such a huge emphasis on sexualizing women and crude humor. And speaking of crude and racist attitudes, Skids and Mudflap are the worst of it all. So outside of Michael Bay, my least favourite Transformers character, or characters I should say, are the twins. Because boy, the comments that come out of these two mouths, they are offensive. They aren't funny in the slightest. Michael Bay was trying to go with funny. This isn't it. This is not what humour looks like. These characters are awful. They completely tarnish Revenge of the Fallen, which isn't a good film to begin with, but it's brought down even lower by these awful characters we follow through a grand majority of runtime. Like seriously, we get more time with Skids and Mudflap than most of the other Autobots throughout the entirety of that film, and it makes that film so much more worse because of it. Splatoon, you can't really have a least favourite character. There are NPCs, sure, but a lot of them have really basic personalities and they all kind of amalgamate together. I certainly do have favourites, which is Marie, because she has the most personality of all of the NPCs. But when it comes to Splatoon characters, ranking them really comes down to just personal preference. It's purely subjective. And their characters being so similar but also so likeable means that there aren't really characters that I hate as a result. There aren't characters that stand out, but there aren't characters that you hate neither. And that's one great thing about Splatoon in a just plethora of great things about that franchise already. But then there's the final franchise for me to talk about, which has been singled out in the question itself. The Walking Dead. I cover this series frequently, so you'd think I'd know who my least favourite character is, and I actually do. It has to be Arvo from Telltale's Walking Dead, because Arvo is such an unbearable character. No matter the choices you make, he either gets his revenge against Clementine or he betrays Clementine. So the fact that a good-hearted Clementine still gets punished for her actions is really demoralizing. Why would you go through the game motivated to make good decisions if whenever you make a good decision you are penalized for it? Arvo is the worst example of that throughout the second season, and then in the finale, Arvo deserves everything that's coming to him because he is the one who got his sister killed. He is the one who put his group in the crosshairs to begin with. and he is not being allowed to accept the consequences of his action. The characters are immediately taking his side over Kenny as a way to force drama and conflict within the group and ultimately tear it from the inside out. Arvo is a character who gets off easy, and when you're playing as Clementine throughout this entire game, a character who's younger and way more innocent than Arvo to the world around her, why is she being punished infinitely more than Arvo? Arvo comes in and just immediately Bonnie and Mike start being nice to him for no good reason whatsoever. They seem to be forgetting that he betrayed them. Arvo is so unbearable. He gets Luke killed, let's also not forget, due to just his stupid actions, which once again he faces no consequences for. Nope, that's it. That's it, I'm fucking done. We're done here. Okay, 2 fantastic questions right here, and I'm very glad to be continuing with a How to Train Your Dragon topic, where I will do you one better, and rather than give you my favourite How to Train Your Dragon movie, we'll talk about the entire trilogy, as each film has something that it does better than the other two. The first film just has really great writing and a great atmosphere and a great setting that they are able to keep small in scope, and just really thoroughly explore every inch and detail of. So the world of Berk is just so incredible in this first film. They set a fantastic foundation to expand upon in the sequels, where the worlds get bigger, and then obviously for the second film, the scope and the emotional impact increases tenfold. The second film has easily the greatest emotional impact on its audience, but then the third film has the greatest exploration of themes throughout. It really does come down to subjective opinion, because any one of these films could be argued as the best of the trilogy, but from my personal preference, I love the second film, as its structure, for character exploration, for writing are all phenomenal. The writing itself isn't as good as the first film's writing, but it is still a league above anything else DreamWorks has to offer. How to Train Your Dragon 2 isn't only my favourite How to Train Your Dragon movie, but it's my favourite movie of all time. And then number 1 comes in the second place for me, and The Hidden World might be my least favourite trilogy, but I cannot emphasise enough how much I still love The Hidden World. It is a fantastic film with some great theme exploration, and just like the second film, it has some really heavy hitting moments. They gut punch you, and boy do you feel that emotion from deep inside you, because it's just a film that really sticks with you long after the credits roll. And speaking of credits, that's where the second part of this question comes in, my favourite end credits song, which is Together From Afar from The Hidden World, a song for the credits which truly feels conclusive, not only in the nature of The Hidden World, but the entirety of the trilogy. It encapsulates everything I love about How to Train Your Dragon in one emotional beat. It's got such memorable lyrics to it as well, that Together From Afar is just the song that I think of when it comes to How to Train Your Dragon credit songs. And just like that, we've made it to the final question of the day. Now, I don't want to terrify you guys right here, but the response to this question could very well impact the fate of the human race. I cannot understate the importance that hinders on my response to this question. As a man of long hair stature, such as myself, it is incredibly important that I answer this question with the utmost seriousness. Like I say, this could damn well change the world if I have an incorrect response to it. So obviously in the end, you have to go with Norman Reedus, purely because the long hair is so essential to his act. Daryl Dixon, to no one's surprise, becomes the superior character that he's known as soon as his hair is grown out. When Daryl had short hair, he was, he was a bit of a dick. Norman Reedus needs that hair. It adds to his performance, it adds to his characters. Whereas Keanu Reeves is a man of pure legend. No matter what hairstyle he has, he pulls off his act, and he continues to be the legend that he is known as. Keanu Reeves is just such an incredibly humble man as well, that he would accept losing to Norman Reedus because Norman Reedus needs that long hair in order for his performance to be bettered. Keanu Reeves is very good at taking a slice of humble pie, so even if that means him losing out on his question, because with Norman Reedus being for response, that is for a response in which the fate of the human race is saved. In Norman Reedus' long hair, we have found our savior. And like I say, I'm basing this purely on the fact that Keanu Reeves looks good no matter what. No matter what his hair looks like, his performances are always that of legend. So without a doubt, the best long-haired actor is Norman Reedus. I cannot, in good conscience, end off this video without first thanking all of my incredible channel members whose continued support help make these videos possible. Without them, these videos would be near impossible to make, so from the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate every last one of them. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, there are plenty of options on screen now to explore, and please consider subscribing to keep up to date with all my content. On that note, this video is coming to an end, so thank you so much as always for watching. Until the next video arises, peace!